Coming up on Cultural Capital, we've had Peaky Blinders, we've had Peaky Blinders, the immersive experience, and now it's Peaky Blinders, the ballet? Our thing of the week is a piece of broadcasting history, and I'll be reviewing David O. Russell's new all-star vehicle, Amsterdam. Ultraviolence and contemporary dance might not be the most obvious of bedfellows, but the Rambert Dance Company knows a brilliant crossover idea when it sees one, and has jumped on the Peaky Blinders bandwagon to bring the redemption of Thomas Shelby to the stage. We headed into rehearsals.
We did a Peaky Blinders festival a few years ago, and Rambert did a 12-minute dance piece, which I'm not a dance person, like just absolutely astounded by it. I thought it was fantastic. So I wrote a scene in series 5 where a dance company, Rambert Dance Company, come to Tommy Shelby's house and perform Swan Lake. And that went well, and the conversations continued. We thought, why not?
The medium that I'm working on with the body is really an international language that everybody can understand and relate, and I think you don't need to speak my language or you don't have to speak English, you just understand. I think you might think, how is Tommy dancing? Well, he can dance. And the characters on its own, they are so complex and sophisticated, and Steven really put a blueprint, a map of who they are and how they are interacting with each other. So I had to understand this, and I had to understand what makes a Peaky Blinder. So it's not a physical appearance, it's really a way of being, a way of thinking.
The story of the dance begins before episode 1 of series 1, so it's during the First World War. So we sort of see why the brothers are so damaged. We see some of that. And then we return to Small Heath, and the boys coming back, and Polly and Ada sort of are running the business perfectly well, so there's conflict there. And then Tommy meets Grace, and then their love story unfolds in the way that it does on the TV show, but with a whole new sort of depth to it, I think.
The 18th of October sees the 100th anniversary of the BBC. The Beeb, Auntie. Our thing of the week from the Science Museum is in homage to that.
Today we're looking at one of our spectacular objects, the Marconi Mark II video head. Now, this was made in 1951 by the Marconi Company, one of 3 made around the time that was really pushing television technology forward. And this one had a very special job. They were primed and really great cameras for outside broadcasting, and it was used during one of the most important broadcasts in television history, which was the Queen's coronation in 1953. Filming the coronation was also quite a technical challenge. Not only was it an outside broadcast, and the BBC were still learning how to do that, there was also an expectation around the world that people would be able to see the coronation. And this involved filming the coronation, putting it on a helicopter, putting it on a jet across the Atlantic, so that millions of people could watch it in America. And 2022 marks an important year in BBC history because it's a centenary of the BBC. And over the last 100 years, they've been using broadcast technologies like the Marconi Mark II to inform, educate and entertain its audiences around the world.
It's a 60-second film review. I started out really enjoying Amsterdam, which is the story of a slightly true American murder conspiracy and feels alarmingly contemporary by the end, despite being set soon after the First World War. There's little point in going over the plot because it's a mystery. Suffice to say, there's a trio of Bezzy mates who live a charmed post-war life in Europe after the war, which can't last, and they're brought back together in New York when somebody gets murdered and it looks a bit like they did it. The cast, which includes but is not limited to Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, John David Washington, Chris Rock, Robert De Niro, Rami Malek, Anya Taylor-Joy, Mike Myers, Michael Shannon and Taylor Swift, is a joy to watch. Admittedly, only Bale actually gets to flex a rounded character as a war-injured doctor with a painkiller addiction. He's part of the trio with Robbie's Valerie and Washington's Harold, a manic pixie dream socialite and a personification of nobility, respectively. But the voiceover, oh my God, it feels like someone has taken David O. Russell aside and said, mate, I'll be honest, it's a bit confusing. Instead of giving it a much-needed cut, he's got Bale to laboriously state the bleeding obvious over every other scene, which is maddening. It's a shame, because somewhere under there is a film I rather liked. Thanks for watching Cultural Capital. For more great things to see and do in London, follow me and the Evening Standard on TikTok and ES Culture on Instagram. See you next week.